Hello and welcome to the October layout update slash overview of the Mondovi line. I'm gonna do a walk around and give a little detail of where I'm at and where I'm going. So this is the town of Mondovi. This is the entrance. This is literally the last mile railroading. So you come in and the yard splits up here, and I'm just going to walk down 16 feet of layout, 24 inches deep, and I'm just going to show it, and then I'll go back from the beginning and talk a little more about it. Sorry if it's a little shaky. You have me and my iPhone, and that's it. Okay, so the Mondovi branch line is a 37-mile long branch that ran from Fairchild, Wisconsin and ended at Mondovi. So I built the terminus here, and I'm going to work my way backwards. So for now, this area here would be Oliva, Wisconsin, and you'd come in to the town, and the first business on the right here was the Monarch Foods Pickle salting station. That would be the Reed Murdoch Company of Chicago. Next to that was a cement shed. I added some details to that, and that's an old shed that I had in a box that came from my father's layout. There was a sawmill behind here, and the backdrop has something that looks kind of like a sawmill. We'll maybe add something there. Now, on the original prototype, there was 2 more tracks that came from here and worked their way out on a 45-degree angle. Obviously, I can't do that here because I have only 24 inches. One of those tracks led to a turntable and an engine house. The engine house was torn down in the 20s. The turntable lasted to the 50s. The other track had a stockyard and a farmer's co-op and a creamery. And since we don't have room for that, we put the stockyard on the runaround track. And the Sinclair oil dealer will also be in the runaround track. That was in the field in between the 2 tracks with piping to drop the car off there and unload it. So we have the same unload spot. Okay, so the main line runs straight down the middle all the way to the end where it stops at the Buffalo River. Now, there was a small facility here at the end of the line. There wasn't a coaling tower, but there was a water tower. And by the time the 50s came around, the water tower was just a foundation. So we'll probably end up building a water tower foundation right there instead of the water tower, but it's in place right now. And there's a Campbell sand house that's just sitting there filling in some space. Now, Mondovi had 5 grain elevators at one time. 3 of the complexes were right along the tracks, and there was a couple that were a little across the alley, if you will. So I built 2, and each of them have room for 2 cars. So this is the Mondovi Grain and Feed. And this would be the Mondovi Co-op Equity. And I built that from a kit, and that's a laser kit, American Model Builders grain elevator. And this would be a, that's Green's Feed. I can't remember who that is. Blair Line. That's a scratch-built grain storage I'll have a pipe coming down to it. That was actually the Walthers coal mine facility. Then there's a LCL, unloading dock by the depot. From reading, every train that came into town usually carried one boxcar of LCL. And then this is the depot, which I scratch built. Obviously there was no kit for it. So this is the Mondovi Depot, which lasted just about all the way to the end in the 70s. At some point it was disassembled and all the stones were put on a train and taken to Fairchild, where it was used to build another building there. The road that came out of Mondovi came down here along the depot, and it didn't go much farther than that. It kind of just ended on this side of the tracks. They did not have a crossing tower, but I do. Then there was a spur on the left side here which had the Standard Oil dealer. So I had found one picture from the late 20s of the Standard Oil dealer from one side of the building, and I scratch built the building, made some tanks and an unloading facility, and there was a coal shed there also. So I added that to the end of the spur to give it a little more interest. Right here between the tracks there was the Midland Lumber Company. This is just a Campbell's building that's sitting there in the space for now, but I'll have to build me a little lumber yard building that will go in there. And then at the end of the line was the Mondovi Canning Factory. I scratch built that building based on a picture of the front and a picture of the other side. The rest I kind of made up. There was actually two buildings, but there's not enough room for two, so we got one so we can see the track side. And I put an engine house that I had at the end of the line here. It seemed a logical place to have it if they ever had another one. I may leave it there. Now, right here there was a switch and a crossover, and on a 45-degree angle out into the next couple blocks there was the Land O'Lakes Creamery. So we used a background building here, and that's just a Walthers building, and gave it about 4 more car spots for operations. So this is as far as the branch line went. Currently I have my cork to put down and start putting track down and modeling the track and painting the track and wiring it up. That's all on the horizon. This is 1281, which was an SW600. I have 1280 and 1281, which were the two locomotives that were used the most on the Mondovi line. Sadly, these Proto 2000s have no room under the hood for anything like a good sound decoder, so I'm going to have them custom worked on. Right now I'm running them DC, which is fine. I've been operating, so when the train pulls in, it pulls right in where this train is sitting. This is an outbound train, but it pulls in, and then I stick the caboose over in the engine house at the end, run around the train, grab all the outgoing cars from their positions and put them on this runaround track on the left. Then get behind the train and push the cars down to each of their industries that they're going to. And I've been working off a switch list that I made up from some examples I found on the internet. Actually, let's walk around to my workbench here. So there's a switch list. You got 4 incoming cars and 4 outbound cars. And I kind of just make up which cars I want as I go. I haven't put it in JMRI or done any kind of computerized switch list. I might use Mark Carlson's idea and throw some dice. Okay, so that's where we are today. What's in the plans right now, there is another room in that darkness around the corner, and we were going to run along that back wall for Oliva, Wisconsin, along this wall here for Strum, Wisconsin. Then we were going to wrap around the corner here, and on this wall was going to be Osseo, Wisconsin, and then on that back wall would be our staging. But I don't know if I want to finish that room and spend the time and money. So I'm looking at a peninsula right down the middle here. I can come 12 feet up this way with a 4x4 round mushroom at the end for turnaround, with a scene splitter right down the center, and then have Oliva on the left side. On the left side of the peninsula, have Strum on the right side, come down, come out, go around, and then Osseo on this wall here, and then a removable stage on this side here. So that's the plans. Thanks for sticking around for all this time and listening to me ramble on. Hit that subscribe button down there at the bottom if you want. That's what everyone says, I guess. I guess there's a bell you can click too if you want to get a notification when I have new videos. And otherwise, leave a comment, hit the like button, or don't. Whatever you'd like. Enjoy your time, and again, welcome to the Mondovi branch of the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad in HO scale.